So with that, let's get into it.
Yeah, Bridge Girl Doom Cell.
Let's go.
Alrighty. So I think this is I just want to. So somebody in chat said Deadpool code isn't ready for review. Here's the policy. We're not doing Deadpool tonight. It doesn't matter. So Deadpool just escaped. Deadpool got really lucky.
Yeah, it did.
Listen, if a game is released for commercial consumer consumption, it is absolutely fair game to review it. There's any product that comes out, any video game that's released, no one's like, it's not ready for review. No, totally is.
No Man's Sky came out and it was garbage. People were like.
They weren't like,
we should give them time to really bring this up.
Let's wait to see. Maybe they'll fix the game and put the rest of the game, or Sea of Thieves, which is a joke of a game, that got reviewed. And you review it because people look to these reviews for people who've played it and people who they sort of trust, right? Mm-hmm. They match up taste to say, what do you guys think? Yeah. Is it worth buying it now? And a lot of times we'll be as honest as possible. Here's what we like and here's what we don't. But maybe wait until they fix these things. Yeah. And it puts pressure on the company to actually release games that are completed.
And hopefully they sell enough of the games to eventually update the code. Yeah. WrestleMania.
That's our disclaimer we'll have to probably give every time. But hopefully that helps you understand. Okay, let's Monster Bash.
The good news is
code is done.
We don't have to talk about old rules because this is an old game with updated rules. So let's talk about Monster Bash. It was released in 1998 originally by Williams, designed by George Gomez, art by Kevin O'Connor, and music by Vince Pontarelli, and software by Lyman F. Sheets Jr. He comes up again. He's been at it for a long time. So this is one of his earlier games. But let's talk about Monster Bash. Let's start with the art. Let me dig through to the photos here, and we can talk about it. Boop, 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 boop. We're almost there.
Look at that. Boom. That's great art.
All right.
That's how you do art in a pinball machine. Look at that. That just screams fun.
Kevin O'Connor, you did it.
Yep, nailed it.
So that's the back glass cabinet. Looks great. That's actually the updated version from Chicago Coin. They just re-released this game, and so they're making more of them because it's a great game and there's demand for them even after all these years.
What's not to like about the art?
It's got all the Universal monsters. Great colors, blues and greens.
Fan of blue. Big fan of blue.
Likes the blues. The placement of everything is good. It just looks good, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great looking game.
Mm-hmm.
Classic art. Not too busy. Everything's drawn well.
Yep.
Illustrated well. All the shots kind of play into the art nicely.
That's true. Because it kind of outlines where the shots are on the art. Like you see like those yellow kind of bars going right. It's like here's where you shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right. There's something to be said about not having a game that's cluttered with too much art on a pinball machine. You're able to look at it and kind of figure out what's going on without kind of getting your eyes crossed, being confused by it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like it. It's clean and it's good. Yeah, he nailed it.
And it's fun.
More than gets the job done.
Yeah,
Way more than gets the job. He's put in overtime.
Gets the job done plus.
Yes. Yep.
Good job. We love the art. Sounds. This has some
God.
Amazing call-outs.
Yeah, it does. It holds up. The game holds up extremely well for being a 20-year-old game.
Yeah,
right.
It does.
Just think about that. Like, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. The super jackpot babies and all that stuff, and it's every time you hit a shot, you hear from one of the different monsters. The voices and call-outs are good.
The voice acting's good in it.
The music's great because you're trying to get the band together to play the rock show.
Yeah, and they all have like each monster. I think has their own custom song, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So there's that. There's that cool intro when you get to what is it? Monsters of Rock.
Monsters of Rock. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the cool intros for them. Just nails it, man. I like the sax solo that he does when they do that.
Naturally. I bet Eric could play that too.
And like humor in it, man. Like it's just like it screams fun. There's great humor in it.
It's that classic 90s, humor, great call-outs, good voice acting, good art. It's that whole package you would want. It's in the vein of Monster Bash and Attack from Mars that really kind of nail all those great aspects of pinball. So, all right, good on you, sound. I'm scared to move away from the pictures here because it's going to reset and go back to Beatles again, and we don't want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Toys. Let's talk about toys. There's a lot of toys on this.
Yeah.
You got Frankenstein, who you hit the stand-up targets
you
there. Bash him, and then he lays down, and then there's stand-up targets underneath him, and then you can hit a ramp underneath him to start a multi-ball.
No, wait, you don't hit. He starts off laying down. He comes up, and you bash him during multi-ball.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
How it goes?
Yeah.
That's right.
You got to hit him. He's got targets in front of him. You hit him, and then that opens up, and you shoot and start multi-ball. And then he comes down, and
you bash him.
During Monster Bash.
There you go. Mm-hmm. I get it.
There's another bash toy in there.
There is. Let's see. I don't know if we got a picture where you can see Frank. Well, Frank hides in the coffin over on the right, and he comes in and he mystifies you with his semicircular movement. That's like one of my favorite callouts in pinball. I still remember the first time I heard that. It made me laugh. So, he's great.
That's a great call out.
He yells at you for scuffing up his Bruno Mollies and stuff like that.
That's great. Who doesn't like when Drac comes out? That's like Martha's favorite thing when he comes out. Yeah.
So he's funny. Moves around. You can bash him too.
The mummy. Does the mummy open up his coffin?
And it opens up.
Yeah.
You got the creature on the left. He's got the hologram there that it lights up, and you can see him under the playfield.
You got the phantom flip technology. So the pinball machine will flip on its own and make the shots, quote unquote. Doesn't always work.
Will hopefully make the shots for you.
Yeah. I like to turn it off because it will really mess you up, but it's cool as a gimmick.
Yep. What else? It's got the Bride of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And Frankenstein.
Her head pops up, right? It's like I think it's on like a coil. Yeah. It's hard. It's you kind of forget about it because there's so many damn toys in the game that doesn't stand out, but it's cool.
To me, this is George Gomez's best game.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite George Gomez game might be Johnny Mnemonic.
Really?
Kind of weird.
Wow. I like Johnny, but I think this.
But I'm not saying it's like a better game than Monster Bash as a whole, but like me as a player, I like that better.
Yeah, it's definitely more unique too because Monster Bash, gameplay wise, is very similar to Attack from Mars and Medieval Madness. In that you got your shot, you hit it a couple times. And then
they got the fan layout and stuff. Like, I mean, this is easily one of the best games that you can show somebody who's like, "What's pinball?" Mm-hmm. Right? Like, it's got to be universally loved by somebody who's just being introduced to the hobby, and people who have been in the hobby for a long time. Obviously, this is one of their favorite games as well. So it's got that kind of universal appeal to it.
Yeah, it's one of, no pun intended, right? Universal Monsters.
I see what you did there. Mm-hmm. I was aware of that, but and there you go.
I kind of nailed it home. But this is one of the games I remember playing on Pinball Arcade kind of early on into my deep dive into pinball and figuring out the rules and just being entertained by the game and it being easy enough to figure out. It's like, ooh, I got that monster and now he's lit up on the playfield. I should probably try to get the other monsters and see what happens and get the whole band together, and then you start Monster Bash and you're like, oh, I did the thing. So
yeah, I remember this again when I was first getting into pinball. This was like one of the games that it just immediately attracted to, immediately loved playing, thought the world of it. Right, it's just so much fun. And not long into playing real pinball, I was able to get to the wizard mode. Right.
Yep.
Not all the one where you collect all the instruments, but that gratifying moment, right? So that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the DMD and lighting. So we got to kind of put a asterisk on this that we haven't played the new one yet, which has updated lighting and DMDs.
So we're basing this on the original.
Yep. But I think DMD wise, it's got great dot art, especially in color DMD. Always makes it even better. It's all the hand drawn stuff. No movie clips converted into dots or anything crazy like that. Again, this is kind of peak 90s Williams DMD artwork, in my opinion. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
No, they just did a fantastic job with it. It's not lacking in any way to criticize. It's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, the lighting doesn't stand out to me as anything like mind-blowing.
Yeah, they don't, not lighting in the 90s, all right, even towards the late 90s, is nothing what it is today with LEDs and all like the light shows. I mean, nowadays it's like light shows are the new toys with what they're able to do. They're able to do so much more, and obviously it takes more time to program, so you kind of get that. It's got the cool... when he gets electrocuted, right? I think it flashes and there's that moment.
Yeah, I don't
for
know.
the multi-ball start.
Yeah.
It's alive.
Yeah. Okay.
And Metallica, when you electrocute Sparky, pays like an homage to that.
Yeah.
Right. That's total call out to that game.
And
right.
it's Lyman on code in both games, so that makes sense, right?
So that's cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't think it stands up to today's like lighting effects. It would be pretty lame by today's standards and what some of these games are doing. But for the time, it's what you would expect. It's solid.
We have some comments in chat saying that the new lighting is amazing. RLM says new lighting is a 20 out of 10, and I've heard that.
Oh wow, that's cool. I'm excited then.
So what I heard about it is it lights the different. It's got RGB lighting in it, and it lights the different areas of the playfield to correspond to the different monsters and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to trying that.
Yeah, that's cool. It's nice that they updated that. I mean, that's something that you can look at, and we were just talking about. It's like, okay, I can see room for improvement there to bring it up to the standard of today's games.
Yeah, what you would expect buying a new in-box Stern or whatever like that.
Yep.
So it's good. I'm looking forward to trying that. Let's talk about gameplay. We talked a little bit about it. It's got the fan layout.
Yeah.
Good shots. What are your thoughts on the gameplay?
Somebody in chat, I'm sorry, I don't know who it was, said the ramps are butter smooth, and I would totally agree. It feels really good to hit those shots, and you can kind of get into a groove where you're going back and forth. Extremely satisfying shots. Matter of fact, all the shots in the game are satisfying.
Yeah.
The spinner, I don't love the spinner shot, but who cares that the spinner shot's not the best shot? It doesn't match up with all the other ones. It's not a bad shot, but
it's a center shot, so center shots are never that great.
Sure. Yeah.
But
it's a weird off center. It's a little off center.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game is just shoots great.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can shoot any better.
It's got those. One thing that it stands out to me when I think about like the layout of the game is it's got those much like on Lord of the Rings back there. It's got the George Gomez super long ramp. They're not tall. They're kind of like shallow in pitch, but it takes a long time to get to the apex of the ramp. So you can go a long way on that ramp and still have it come back to you if you don't hit it clean enough. You know what I'm talking about? So that's something that stands out. I don't necessarily
the bride
see it
ramp on the left is the one I'm thinking of. It's like whoosh. It makes the sound too. There's a sound that choreographs to that too.
Sneaks back, yeah. So
that's cool.
It's it gives you a long when you hit the ramp. I heard him talking about this, I think, on the head-to-head podcast interview, George Gomez, and he says that it gives the player a long time to kind of react to the ball coming back to you. Especially for a new player, it's like you've got time. It's like, oh, here it comes. I can get ready and then hit it again. So
it's well thought out.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, great fan layout. I echo a lot of what you say. Even the kind of saucer shot on the left is very easy and findable.
Yeah, don't love saucer shots. That's probably one of the last things I go for in that game because you got to hit the saucer, then you catch it. It's a little boring compared to the rest of the shots in the game, but whatever.
Yep. That's kind of a George Gomez signature, too, because he's got it on fast break.
Yeah.
A lot of his layouts, he likes to throw
got
that
fast break, Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
Does Lord of the Rings have that?
It's got the like up kick over there.
Yeah.
That's more like Medieval Madness, but there's still a shot.
Yeah, Medieval Madness.
Spot.
Yeah, he likes that.
Yep. All right, rules. We talked a little bit about it, but it's...
Yeah, so I mean the rules are good for its time. I don't think they stack up as much as what we demand in a game these days for a game to be like great, right? To be something really special to talk about. But cool rules. I mean, you gotta play through the modes if you want to collect their instruments to get to the ultimate wizard mode, right? So that's cool. It gives you something to certainly to shoot for. There's the what I want to say, the idea of stacking the modes with multi-ball, right? So you want to not start the Frankenstein multi-ball, which is kind of counterintuitive to newer players. Like, wait, I don't want to start multi-ball. It's like, no. You want to start the modes first and kind of set the table and then bring it in and you get a huge payoff. So kind of like, I like that. I like that where it's just not straightforward. Okay, get multi-ball. There might be things to do beforehand. And there's a risk reward if you're playing in a tournament. There's times where I'm like, oh man, I just want to start a multi-ball right now.
Like ball three,
I've done nothing. It'd be great to bring in modes. So risk reward in a game, very cool.
Yeah, I remember watching one of the early Papa streams, and they were showing super high level competition going on Monster Bash, and they were kind of lamenting the fact that somebody was doing the Frankenstein's monster multi-ball without stacking a bunch of modes. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do that. Like do all these shots and then start the multi-ball. I'm just going to start the multi-ball by itself. And then now it's like I've progressed to the point where it's like, oh, at least let me bring in a couple modes, get those going, and then I'll start the multi-ball. So,
well, that's the thing about this game, which holds it back from me having it in my collection. I think like the rules are good, they're solid, but and this game is fantastic for beginner players. And again, I know why people have in their collection who've been playing forever. Where I am as a player right now, the game is essentially too easy. Yeah. And I can kind of go through it, and it doesn't hold up. Once I kind of tackle a game and can get through it, I can see if I own that game, every time I'd be just getting pretty much to the end, close to the end.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of game, which is awesome when you're starting off, but you can kind of lose its lastability as a player. So, your love of this game might very much be affected by your skill level. And I was surprised when they came out with the remake. I mean, Dimple Brains is set up harder. I mean, I play in tournaments and competitions, and you can set up hard. I get it, but yeah, you'll see. Trust me. Give it a few years. If you're newer, give it a few years. Play a lot of pinball, and you might feel that way. I was surprised that when it came out with the remake, I thought, oh, Martha's going to get this game because she loves Monster Bash, but she's like, eh. And I don't know if it's too easy, but there's some of that plays into it.
Yeah. For me, like I guess a lot of it would depend on the level of nostalgia or fondness you have for the game. Like Addams Family, I can get to tour the mansion like pretty regularly, but that game's never leaving as far as I'm concerned, unless they do a remake and make it even better. But so if this is a game that you love and you've always wanted to own it, and the prices have been too high, and now you can grab one for a great price, I think it's worth going for, especially if you got a bigger collection and you want to just have it. When you have the urge to play that game, it's like, dude, I can go out and play this game whenever I want now because I have it in my game room. So, yeah, I think if this is like the game that you remember playing back in the day, then it's a great one to have in the collection. But I agree, it's a lot of the '90s games. They were made for the location. They were made for the home.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a Hobbit level rule set. It's going to be kind of a more middle of the road. And thankfully now the prices are more reasonable on it, so it makes it more of a reasonable purchase, I think, for most people.
I know when people are saying, I'll set up an extra degree or it's too easy. I think you put it even more succinctly. It's got a limited rule set for what we expect today. It's competing against games that have more depth and
at a similar price point.
And I'm talking about a perspective from, am I going to spend $6,000 on a game? Right? I have $6,000 to spend. What game do I get? Go.
Yeah.
I think Monster Bash is one of the most fantastic games ever made, but I don't see it ever being in my collection, right? Just because lastability is very important to me, and I can see just getting over that game. Just seeing everything, basically seeing, in terms of easy, yeah, you can have games where things don't go your way and you're getting destroyed, but there's plenty of times when you're going to see all you can see in that game, and I've seen all I can see in that game, right? Where there's a number of games in my collections which I'm not even close to that, right? And that's what keeps me coming back.
Right. And the argument of setting it up harder is like, yeah, you can make a game impossible.
Sure, but remove a flipper.
Right. It's not the way the game is meant to be played, and it takes away the fun of it, and that's not the point.
Right. If it becomes a point where you're just artificially making it harder. I don't have any of my games ever set easy. I don't even have my games probably set normal out of the box at like the normal playfield pitch. I always make it even a little harder, right?
Yeah.
I'm not ripping out every outpost, but you get the impression.
Yeah.
You get the idea.
Yep.
Anyways.
All right, so that gets into the lastability of it. So I would say probably for a newer player or somebody who really loves this this theme or this game in particular, it's going to have some staying power, right? But for a more advanced player, you're probably going to see all there is to see relatively quickly, right?
I can see like somebody might be in pinball for a long time, but it's not like a competitive player, and just they have it, they like pinball, but they're not as serious as us, right? They're not practicing drop catches, right? They just enjoy playing pinball. Great game to have in your collection. Do not get me wrong when this is just Nick Lane as a player, my gut feeling and why it won't be in my collection. And I would give it an 8.5 because of that, because 9's like a buy for us, right?
So you're saying this is your subjective review?
This is my... Unfortunately, I'm not a robot. I don't even know you can make an objective robot. One day we'll do an objective review, and it's like, this game's got 2 flippers. And
it's blue, and has artwork and sounds.
Yeah, that's it.
There you go.
But anyways, yeah. So your mileage is going to vary on this game. I think it's, again, one of the best games. I think it looks great in a collection if you're a collector and you're just kind of a casual pinball player. If you're more hardcore I think your money can be spent on other games that you might get more mileage out of and have a little more of a challenge, deeper rule set to explore. There you go. What do you think?
So you're giving it an 8.5?
I give it 8.5. Okay. It's a very good. I mean, that's highest you can get in a solid game before we get to our bias. So we might as well go over what that is again. Kevin's loading it up. So we'll put that review in perspective. That's a great rating.
There we go. So here's our guide. 0 to 2 is a burn it. 3 to 5 is an expensive nightlight. 6 to 8 is a solid game. 9 to 10, get your wallets out.
So it's between a solid game and get your wallets out. I think it's a perfect place to kind of sit. Would I put one on location? I know it's a business we've talked about getting one. Mm-hmm. It's in the realm of possibilities with that price point. So maybe I'd certainly consider it.
Remake, I would have said no way. The price is way too high.
Yeah.
But now I would say I think Monster Bash is a 9. It's an all-time great. The price is much better now. The prices have been driven down now that they're re-releasing these games. Made it even better with the update. $6,000 for an A title all day. I would say yes, buy it.
This is unlike, if you have kids and you're concerned about what games you have for your kids, like this is a great game to have, I think.
Yeah.
It's a great buy.
All-time great. Monster Bash. There we go. So there you go.
Rudy Soup says it does great in casual settings, so I guess we'll have to buy it. Thank you.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, it's Q&A time on Brody Even Talk Pinball.